but I moved away from California and then moved back in 1984. And at one point, a year or so later, I happened to tell a dream I'd had, and I don't remember which dream it was, to Janet White, who's been one of the longtime Berkeley Baba lovers. And she said, "Oh, you should tell that dream to Robbie Basho." So, you know, who knows if Baba might have been talking through. I don't even know if I thought that, but I called up Robbie and he invited me over and I told him the dream. And we got in a long, long conversation. And, you know, I felt a certain kind of kinship with him. I mean, he had realms that I'll never even dream of, but, you know, we felt there was a certain nice relationship. And he asked me if I would be his, I guess, roadie, you know. So I would drive him to his gigs, as it says in the movie, and it was a great joy, you know. And it ended very suddenly. Sometimes there were very few people, sometimes not even that, but you know, he was still himself, and he played beautifully for, you know, just a few people, and it's very rich. That's all I had to say, I guess, Jay Baba, and I just believe him. I think they're just a wonderful job. Go ahead, Brian.
Well, I don't know. I don't remember how I met Robbie, but it may have been through you, Max. I'm not sure, because when he would perform in Mill Valley, I would stay somewhere else and give him my apartment for a few days. You know, and then he'd go back to East Bay, I guess. And the thing is, that was when he would leave, he would just be gone. He wouldn't even leave a thank you note. And I was a little taken aback the first time that happened, but I also just came to feel, oh, that's Robbie. I mean, I didn't take it personally. It's like I felt almost honored that he could stay at my place, and you know, I'm just glad I had that experience. You know, and I only recently discovered, because I don't know where my albums are, that there's so much online. And I've also had my own experience, I mean, physically in Montana, but with Chief Joseph, the history of the Nez Perce. And I feel a very strong emotional connection. I get tearful talking about what happened to them. And unlike other tribes, which I know suffered a lot, but I've been to the Big Hole across the river where they camped and were ambushed east of Lolo, Montana. And so it's not just that I've read about it. I've actually been there. And years ago, when the Berkeley group, probably sometime in the late 80s, when people in the Berkeley group started having children, and there was a multi-generational feeling to the Berkeley group that hadn't been there before. I was talking to Karina Page after she moved to LA, and I said to her, it feels more like a little tribe because of the multi-generational quality. And she said, oh, that's funny, because Phyllis Frederick just said to me the other day, Phyllis told Karina, she said that most of the people in the LA group and the Berkeley group in a former lifetime were all together in a Native American tribe. And that hit me because of my connection with Rolling Thunder and my experience with the Nez Perce history. And then to see Robbie's connection, particularly to Chief Joseph, which next to Mayor Baba is the largest photo in my office, is Chief Joseph. It just feels like I'm sort of falling backwards into some other lifetime, out of which Robbie never got out of entirely. Anyway, that's what I have to share.
That brings. I'm going to be very brief, and this is probably all I'll say. But that reminds me, I once asked Robbie, because I was contemplating what was happening and had happened to the Native Americans for so long, and Robbie's only comment that he shared with me was that they were visited by, they had great leaders who would incarnate among them. That was the main thing he said.
Well, I remember him mentioning something about, because I was curious about what they would have thought about Mayor Baba or how much he shared among the Lakota. And he said he finally had to get out of there because of their fooling around in sort of the realm of black magic. There was something about that rubbed him, and he just felt he had to get out of there. but he certainly channeled a lot of wonderful stuff of his own.
And he knew 35 guitar tunings. That's
Eddie, can you hear me?
35.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how I got,
Oh, is this Alan?
yeah, it is, but I got disappeared there. I just got back from lunch. I had seen this before, but I want to say I knew Robbie quite well. In Berkeley in the 70s, of course, I was not a Sufi and Robbie was, but there weren't many of us, and we all knew each other pretty well. And go to parties and such like that. But on a more localized note, he would.
You froze, Alan.
Alan? Yeah.
I hear this. My internet
Yeah.
connection is unstable.
Now we got you.
We got you.
You froze a bit.
All right. Yeah, I know. I've been having trouble recently on any event.
On a more intimate note,
So his financial situation was very unstable, kind of like my internet.
Good image.
Could I work for you? Could I work for you? And
Oh,
man, it was the toughest thing in the world to say no to Robbie Basho. Also, Steve Chev was the same thing. If you knew Steve Chev.
And me. And me.
Two peas in a pod, man. And I'm not a hard-hearted person, but I'm not. I was running a business, and it was difficult to say no to Robbie. So what I would do is, I would let him work in Ambrosia, the restaurant portion, and he would play his guitar for a couple hours or more, and I would give him something to do, and I would give him a meal and give him some money, and it went on like that every day. Every day virtually came in and said the same thing. It was that desperate. But what a sweet soul. I remember concerts, those of you in the Bay Area at that time, he would play and be met.
well, we're having a hard time with your
Yeah.
internet.
Okay.
I think we'll just go on, and maybe Alan, you could try again in just a bit. There are a few other hands up. Rosalie, what have you got to say? Rosalie, are you there?
Yes, they can't
Deborah.
hear me.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved his song about, I wish they'd play the whole thing, The Sweet Wine of Love.
Mm.
It is so exquisite. It is such an inner song that it's one of my favorite songs.
It's probably on YouTube.
Is it? Yeah.
Most everything is, I think.
Yeah. But, amazing to hear about his life, because I remember once I was playing volleyball with some people and Robbie couldn't play because of he was afraid he might hurt his hand, So it was, it was serious in his music. Yeah, it's like, you kind of feel the pain of the life too, but like it was his life. Baba living in him, just yeah, that's all we have to give, our life, Yeah. Hey, Baba.
I should mention, folks, I'm recording your comments. We couldn't record the movie, but so okay, keep it in mind. This is for posterity. I've seen you have something to say. Thanks, Rosie. Barbara?
I remember on the Berkeley Folk Festival, and I had the two favorite things, folk festivals and then a Baba, Robbie Basho there. And I remember sitting on the lawn next, listening to all the music with him. And I just thought that was just such a cool thing. I'll never forget.
I think that was the biggest audience he ever had. I think 5,000 people were there, he said.
Yeah,
It
it
wasn't
was
there.
incredible. It's beautiful festival.
Babsy, how about you, Joe? Joe, did you go away? No.
Who's Joe? He was there a
There.
minute ago.
There you
Yeah,
go.
he's-
Can you hear me now?
There he is. Yeah.
Yes. I was living in Wilmington, Delaware, and 73, he came to Westchester, Pennsylvania, and there was a coffee shop venue there. Sunday afternoon, he gave a performance. All the Baba group went, John Prettyman, Grant Berger, the Kelseys, John Dennison, and there's a group of us. And I think we were about the only, just a couple other people who were not Baba lovers went. So we cheered him on. We were very happy to meet him. The first time I met him. And so then we, afterwards, we had, some a lunch together. It was a shared meal. And it was you could tell he was a little disappointed at the low turnout. But I just remember what an incredible soul he was. He really, his music, his singing really touched me deeply, as it still does. And I felt back then, and I felt now, like I knew when he's singing those Indian chants and songs, you just know he was an Indian. He had to be. And so I was really happy to hear that vision or dream of him in a past life, having that connection with Chief Joseph, because that makes perfect sense to me. So I just knew he was this Native American soul who would singing like that and channeling those Indian spirits and forces, and he just knew he was just some highly unique individual. I just was just so happy to have met him, just even to spend those small amount of time with him. So thanks so much for this film. It's really wonderful.
Thanks, Joe. Now, I might have cut. Yes, Brian, go ahead. Let's see. Let me find you. Can you unmute? No? Let's see. Let me try. Ask to unmute.
Let's see.
Oh, now I'm
There you
unmuted.
go. There you go.
No, I just wanted to say thank you and Jay Baba, and I'm out of here.
Hey, bud.
Thank you, Brian. It was really nice to hear your comments. I have a email from Huey McDonald, who is a good friend of Robbie's. Huey and Robbie can I say it now, Max?
Sure.
I asked Huey to please send, and he sent a comment, and he said, they're in India. They got stuck there due to COVID. So Huey and Jeannie are there. And he said, I went to Robbie's concert when he stayed at our house, and it was nice, but nothing replaces the memory of him singing and playing in our living room. Not just the playing the guitar as he did at that time in concerts. He sang about Leela and other Muslim images and various mystical themes that were over my head. Very erudite, I guess, but it was gorgeous. Sonorous and heartfelt, very moving. He sat in our living room and filled it with mystical magic. His sweet wine of love, he sang, full of longing for a beloved. Lots of dard, ache, pain was there. During his stay, he might actually wonder out loud if some woman, or was it a goddess, would want to have him. He expressed a wonderful directness and honesty without being overbearing at all. More like a mystic describing the planes of consciousness or the sound of an angel chorus. We really enjoyed his visits, whether to give a concert at Stanford or to do a recording session at the studio in Palo Alto. Love, Huey. So, Alan, I wondered if I could cut you off. Did you have more to say? Are you there? I'm not seeing him. And I guess Alan is gone. Max, you were gonna, you had told, could you tell the story again about how it came about that you did this, put it together?
Yeah, I mean, I had moved to Berkeley in 1984, and I got involved with the Berkeley Baba group, and at some point I had some kind of dream that I don't remember which. I had a number of memorable dreams, and I don't remember which one it was. But somehow I happened to tell that dream to Janet White, whom I saw either at a meeting or at her house. I don't know. And she just said, "You should tell that dream to Robbie Basho." So, and I had never really met him. So I thought this would be an opportunity to meet him. So I called him up, and he invited me over there. And we talked for 2 or 3 hours. It was just as I said in the film, and what Joe DiSabatino alluded to also, his atmosphere was just of such a lover of beauty. And I was just struck by it every time I went to where he lived. I don't remember anymore most of the art he had or anything. I remember seeing the Symphony to Mercia de Deuce in a big folio there. And so after our conversation, he just asked me if I could. I guess he needed a driver and a helper, so I was happy to do it for maybe 6 months, the last 6 months of his life. Every few weeks, not every weekend or anything. And he encouraged my own poetry. I don't know if I ever played any songs for him, but he encouraged my poetry, and I would write something funny, and he would always laugh. I mean, he would find it funny. That's about all that remains in this old mind after 35 or 40 years.
Isn't there a story though about how you got involved with doing this meeting and you contacted?
Oh, this meeting?
Yeah.
Angela. When the NPR, yeah, okay. When the NPR feature suddenly, like, I woke up one morning and in my Google alerts under Meher Baba, I think there was something there in my email, and so I clicked it, and it was a new Robbie Basho box set of CDs, so that got a lot of I think international press, and coverage, and I put it on one of the Journey to Meher Baba page on Facebook, and a lot of people were interested in hearing about it. And then at some point, Angela asked me if I could get a hold of the film, and I had known Liam Barker, and I contacted him. I mean, I could have bought the film, but I thought I'd invite Liam to come here and talk to us. This guy who's spent 7 years on Robbie's projects, but he's not available. He's just away somewhere. So that's what led to this. And then, of course, the CDs from this, I said it earlier when there were just a couple people here, from this box set that was shown at the end of the film, which I don't think that part was on the film when I saw it a couple years ago in San Francisco. Back after Robbie died, I ended up living in Staten Island, New York, at Ira Shader's house for a few months in the late 80s. And Ira said, I'm sure Robbie had some unpublished tapes, and I want to get a hold of them. I want to buy them. And do you know how I can get a hold of them? And the only thing I could think of was I had met David Israel once. I'd run into him at a restaurant in Berkeley. I was with some other Baba lovers. And he had some connection with Robbie's estate, I thought. So this was odd. I tried to phone him in Berkeley. I was in Staten Island, New York City. And I got a call back saying he had also moved to Staten Island. And he was like 2 blocks away. But he did have some connection with Robbie's estate, but he didn't have the tapes. But somehow Ira got a hold of them. That's right. And that was the last I heard. And I didn't see Ira for many, many years. But when Liam came to interview me to my house, I told him there's this guy in Myrtle Beach, and Liam was going to Myrtle Beach to interview people that might have Robbie's unpublished tapes. So Liam went into this Ira's house. Some of you know about Ira's house. And there was the briefcase and the boxes with all the tapes. And Liam spent an additional couple of years working with Robbie's material to get them into such wonderful shape that they're in now. And a beautiful booklet with scholarly essays and stuff accompanying the CDs. And they're available digitally too, of course.
And he was just taken with Robbie, listening to his music. Is that what inspired him?
Liam, the filmmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that I don't remember any details, but he just fell in love with Robbie's music as played on YouTube. Yeah, really. I mean, enough to make this commitment. You know that.
Wow. Anybody else? Some of you might not be familiar with raising hands. I can't see some.
Not everybody's showing.
Oh well. Okay. Diana, Bob, and Joy. I guess Bobby Bernstein. Bobby, did you ever meet Robbie or know him? Oh, I've got you unmuted. Sorry. Not getting you. Well, I have a little teeny interaction with Robbie. I lived in Palo Alto and was good friends with Huey and Jeannie, and Robbie would stay there. But one time, as they put it, Robbie needed a babysitter. They needed someplace else for him to stay. So he was brought to our house, and he was so sort of it was like Winnie the Pooh, or sort of kind of kind of a little, you know, that's what his term for it was, babysitting. So, okay, I guess you're babysitting me tonight. And he was hoping that I would have cookies, and I did, but they weren't homemade. They were Oreos, and it was like, no, that was not gonna cut it. He had cookies in mind. So that's my little interaction with Robbie. Okay. So, okay, I have, let me put again the information about if you wanted to contribute to his PayPal account, Liam's, there. Okay, I put that in there in the chat. And you can, the button for chat is on the bottom of the screen. That was beautiful about Brian's comment about the Chief Joseph's, and I had never heard that somebody felt we were all connected that way.
No, I didn't either.
Native American. Yeah, I've had this incredible attraction here in Oregon too. I haven't been there. The Wallowa Valley, this Chief Joseph's home territory. I sure hope to make it there. So, and anybody got anything else to add? Shall we call it?
I didn't.
Oh.
I missed that him talking. He talks a lot about the connection with Chief Joseph. What?
Brian said he was talking to a woman, and I didn't get her name, in LA, I believe, in the LA group. I don't think it was Phyllis. Does anybody remember exactly what Brian said? That she had said that the Baba lovers in.
Yeah, that was Phyllis.
It was Phyllis?
That's what I seem
Phyllis
to remember. That Phyllis had said that. Yeah, Phyllis is the kind of person that would say that.
They said what? Said what?
We had been part of we had been in part of Chief Joseph's, or was it that specifically?
That's not what I remember, but you know, it's like different people seeing an accident. Everybody remembers him. I remember her saying they had lived together as Native Americans.
I remember her saying Native Americans, and I think it was like up at Megamount, and we were around the fire, and Avatar Baba stood up. He showed us how to stand up, and I just thought that was so beautiful. I thought it's probably true. The Avatar does leads the way. Yeah.
He did say that he had been there. Baba said that he had been there.
Yeah.
Wow, I wish Brian would come back and tell that story again.
Yeah.
Maybe we can pin him down. Oh, wow. Well, he was particularly taken with Chief Joseph, who was, that story is incredible. How he wouldn't, how they went up to Canada and he wouldn't. It took a long time. Oh, such a story, such bravery.
Who was taken, Robbie or who?
Brian, no, wait a minute. Okay, Brian told the
Brian.
story, the mystic, but he has a real strong affinity to Chief Joseph and that whole Nez Perce band who was up in I think it's in Chief Joseph's home country is up in northern Oregon and the Wallowa Valley, and I think it was Montana. Anyway, Brian said that he felt a real affinity to those people, and Chief Joseph.
Yeah, and I always feel connected to the American Indian.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Well,
it's so interesting because they took a lot in the beginning of our nation from the Iroquois Confederacy.
oh, the Constitution, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they should have taken more, like sharing, that, or you can own land. Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yes. Wow.
I think I'm gonna take off, Betty.
Okay.
Thanks
All right.
everybody
Thank you,
for coming.
Max.
I'm glad we
Yeah,
shared.
this was
Maybe
great.
we'll do it again.
So that's a great, wonderful opportunity to see that movie, Max. I'm so
Yeah.
glad to see
Maybe
it.
we'll try it again in 6 months or something, because there'll be other people that want to see it. It's a
Okay.
thought,
And there's
you know.
info about Liam
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
in the chat. Okay.
Jay Baba, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Max.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That was beautiful. I mean, it's like, it